We start with news from Gaza. At least 15 people, including 4 journalists working for international media, have been killed by 2 Israeli military strikes on Nasser Hospital in southern Gaza. These are the latest pictures we're getting from the scene, showing smoke rising from the main hospital in southern Gaza and a group of people rushing the injured inside. Al Jazeera is reporting that among the dead is one of their cameramen, Mohammed Salama. The Reuters news agency has also confirmed that a cameraman working for it, Hussam al-Masri, was among those killed. The other journalists killed are said to work with Associated Press and the American TV network NBC. Well, there wasn't one, but 2 strikes on the hospital. The second attack hit the rescue workers at the scene. These pictures are from Al Ghad television. After the initial blast, people were seen trying to help the injured. Just moments later, there was a second hit. Those on the stairs were immediately covered in dust and debris. We've not heard how many, if any, survived. A short time ago, we spoke to Fadi Umar, who's a programmes officer with the charity SKT Welfare. He's based just outside Nasser Hospital. I asked him how big the hospital is and how many people were there at the time.
Many people, thousands of people, according to numbers that comes every day, because it's the only hospital in this city. It is serve approximately 900,000 people at Khan Younis city. So what's happening today was a crime, a big crime. The photos that shows and what we are seeing our eyes, that journalists were taking their usual photos from the top of Nasser Hospital and sending their reports, press reports, especially since Nasser Hospital overlooks the camps, and many journalists appear with this view. Within this view, the journalists were targeted by a drone. This is the first hit for the Nasser drone carrying explosive, and they were killed instantly. 5 minutes later, civil defense personnel and some journalists present in the location. After they arrived, they targeted the same place again. None of the attacks had any prior warnings. None of these attacks. Nasser Hospital is currently, as I mentioned before, the only hospital in the city, and approximately 900,000 people rely on it for treatment. Despite this, it is targeted suddenly, which increases the number of casualties at this action. This toll now rose to 15, including 5 journalists, as a result of the Israeli bombing of the Nasser Medical Complex in Khan Younis. Government media office at this time in Gaza.
Sorry, I was just going to ask you whether they've had to evacuate the hospital at all, or what's happening with the patients at the moment.
There is some evacuation for some in the same buildings, but the hospital is big enough, and there is no place that you can evacuate the patient to it. There is no another hospital at the same city. There is another hospital that's far away from Nasser Hospital in Deir al-Balah, and but it is a Shuhada al-Aqsa. But this hospital is smaller than the Nasser Hospital. So there is no central hospital that you can evacuate the patient to it. So it is a disaster for that. So a lot of patients are still in their beds, and there is no place to go to it, because if they are leaving the hospital, they are faced death.
Just a reminder that the Israeli military and the Prime Minister's office have had no immediate comment regarding the strikes. And let's get more from our correspondent Yulan Nell, who joins us live from Jerusalem. So it's been a very busy morning. Bring us right up to date with that latest on the strike in Gaza, the strikes in Gaza.
So we've had comments from some of the different news agencies whose journalists have been killed. Reuters confirming that Hussam al-Masri, who was working for the news agency, was killed. They're saying he was operating their live camera feed, which is sometimes being used by the BBC to show the scenes in Khan Younis, that big southern city in Gaza. This camera feed shut down at the time of the initial strike, Reuters says. Another Reuters worker was also injured. The Associated Press said it was shocked and saddened in a statement about the killing of Mariam Abu Daga, a 33-year-old journalist who had been working as a freelance journalist with that news agency since the start of the war 22 months ago, and she had often been based at the hospital, the agency said. Al Jazeera confirmed its cameraman Mohammed Salama was killed, and Muaz Abu Taha, the fourth journalist killed, is reported to have worked for the US network for NBC. The Gazan Civil Defense says that one of its rescuers was killed, and witnesses have said that this second strike took place after rescue workers and journalists went to the aid of the casualties from that initial attack. We think that was the Reuters position on the roof. As you were saying, we've asked the Israeli military for comments on this, and they've said that they're looking into it. This has been one of the bloodiest conflicts for journalists. The Committee to Protect Journalists says that more than 190 journalists have been killed since the start of the war. And, you know, just to explain to people a little, that journalists are often based at the hospitals in Gaza because this is the location where they can get internet and they're able to send their reports to the outside world. And of course, they're often following the casualties. They're there so they can verify numbers of dead and speak to patients who are arriving.
And Yolande, this comes as there are reports that the Israeli military may be a little bit in dissent with the government over the prospects for continuing the offensives in Gaza. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on that front.
Yeah, so Israeli media really dominated by reports of tensions between the military and the government. As we're told that the Israeli Security Cabinet, the Prime Minister leading that, is due to meet tomorrow evening to discuss the latest developments in the Gaza war and to discuss this latest ceasefire and hostage deal proposal that's been put forward by regional mediators, by Qatar and Egypt, which Hamas signed up to a week ago. It's very similar to a deal that Israel previously agreed to, but since then, since the last round of indirect talks with Hamas collapsed, Israel has been saying it will only accept a comprehensive deal to bring home all of the hostages at once and end the war on terms that it finds acceptable. Now, there are reports in the Israeli media that the military chief of staff has said that there is a deal on the table and it needs to be taken, that the Israeli military has in effect put pressure on Hamas to get to this point, has created the conditions for the hostage deal, the words that are quoted. Now it's in Netanyahu's hands, and saying that going ahead with this plan to conquer Gaza City will endanger the lives of the hostages. That is something that the Hostages and Missing Families Forum also fears, and they are calling for a big day of protest tomorrow.
Yolande Knell, thank you very much indeed for bringing us up to date with the latest there and the context for the story. Thank you.